What if I want to grab a rabbit and just cut it into pieces? Like, what if that's what I want to do? You know what I'm saying? It's wrong for me to want to do that. It's wrong for me to do that. But if God doesn't allow that, then it doesn't allow me to be free. And for me to make that choice. Now, that choice has consequences. First and foremost, it creates a lot of suffering for the rabbit. It creates an influence to everybody else that sees it or knows about it to do something similar and feel like it's kind of cool, maybe, or even to think that it's permissible, or that it's even the cynic who can say that's how the world is, that's how rabbits are supposed to suffer. And then it's the consequence of my own soul, because it makes me corrupt. It makes me slave to sin of what I've done. So all of those consequences come from your free but evil action. At the moment God intervenes to avoid evil, what he does, or he would do if that were the case, is curtail freedom. And then what will be the point? You know what I'm saying? Then why not just make us inanimate? Make us just. But then it wouldn't make sense for the whole creation. What would be the point of creation if we're not free? And I don't mean from our perspective, but from the perspective of God. Because it would just be what? Like a little play that he put together? Like a little. And he is omniscient, right? He already knows everything. There will be no factor. Same thing. I mean, disorder. It's disorder in all the respects. It's just like it doesn't need to be. It's kind of like the flood, right? We were talking about the flood in a previous episode, right? Yeah, and it's almost like it's that's directly caused by God, right? In that sense. And again, all these things have to be read, or at least I read them like I don't know how exactly what it's explaining, but let's take it at face value, and it's a flood that God sends, floods the whole world. There's a lot of suffering there, right? A lot of people die. Now, it's like when you have people that are like, it's like, what is more important, if you're away from heaven, right, from actual communion with God, actual being there with God, being back at the law, so back at doing what God wants for our own happiness, we've strayed away from that, and now we need to be corrected in that sense. We need to learn to freely come back. So we have to live out the consequences. Now, if we are so far away, if we're so far away from God, that God, who is omniscient, knows that whatever choice we make in our freedom, there's no possibility for us to come back unless he intervenes. That's when he intervenes, because then he's not curtailing our freedom anymore. He's let us take every possible choice. And at the moment in which there's no good choice left, just to say, then God intervenes, because there's no point in letting us keep going. And that's when he does kind of clean slate, which would be also similar to how it would be with the end of the world. It's kind of like it will come at the point at the end point, at the worst point, because it will come at the point where there's no other possibility, where every route has been extinguished